it's a blur. Don't know for sure, but I'm ready for another round. You're talking shit, don't hear us out.
Hey, this is the Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. Hey everybody, sorry I'm a couple minutes late today. Seems like it's always a mad panic to get everything ready, and I want to reboot my computer to make sure that I don't have some process running that slows the video down and I have to stop halfway through. But thanks so much everybody for making it. CH Development, how's it going? Hey, what does CH stand for? Is it Chinese? Or is it, or are those your initials? Mega Man, hey, how's it going? How's it going, Rodrigo? Hey, Hussein, how's it going? Hey, Christopher. Christopher, how are you? Cool. So it's been like such a busy week for me. It's we had like 4 different client meetings, which I know for like bigger companies is probably not a lot. I mean, new prospect meetings. We have normal client meetings all the time, but like new prospect meetings. So it was like we have a lot of work coming in. It was just like going here, there, and like a lot of my videos in the upcoming days, I'm wearing a suit because I'm going to all these meetings over the last few days, and it's been pretty hectic, but kind of fun too. It's kind of fun just going someplace. We went to someplace where it was like it was a small office where they could see you like through the front window. It was really rare because sometimes you park in a parking lot and you go up to the office or whatever. But this was one where they could see you, and it was like me and Mark, who works in the office. We pull up in the Mustang and we get out wearing the sunglasses and suits on, and I felt like this looks like a cop drama. I felt like I should be like asking, excuse me, we're here to ask about your app. So that was kind of fun, right? And what else has happened this week? I've been working a little bit more on dialogue flow. So I've talked about one of my over the Christmas period, my pet project was going to be to work on a course, but what I ended up doing was working with dialogue flow, which is really, really cool the way that it works. We should do some stuff on that at some point. But I've submitted, so I've done a Google Assistant app, and I've submitted it for approval twice, and it's been rejected both times for little things. So it's almost like with me and the Google Voice thing, it's like learning how interfaces work again. Like, because you're so used to how web interfaces work and then app interfaces, and then now you got the voice one where so the thing it keeps getting me for is leaving the mic open without saying, please say something else. So like after each command, you should say something like, what would you like to do now? Or say exit to exit. And it keeps getting me for that. So that's something, and doesn't take a lot of time to fix these things. It's just I'm doing it on the weekends and stuff. So that's something that I've been working on. And also I want to get into a few other things this year because it's a new year and it's fun, and starting trying to keep up with going to the gym each day and everything like that too, which I missed a couple days, but mainly it was because of the client meetings. So let's see. Like Lasiro, is it Lasiro or is Isiro 187? Finally, the notification worked. Good. I'm glad about that. He keeps complaining about the notifications. I don't know yeah. So I'm glad about that. Raphael, hey, Raphael LR's, hey, how's it going? Hey, Eric, what is AdMob open bidding? How will it work? See, I'm not sure about this either. They announced this as a big thing in March about open bidding, and every time I read it, it sounds like the way that mediation should have been working all along, but I think it's more real-time updates. So I think it's probably like a more efficient way of doing it. But I mean, I've read the releases on that, and they talk about how it's going to be huge, but I'm thinking, isn't that just how mediation works? So, but I mean, I'm going to do it as soon as it does. I mean, whatever I have to do, I'm going to try it out, because somebody was asking me about mediation earlier, and a lot of times I use mediation for a while, and then I'll switch it off because AdMob, like it's almost like I'm separating the I think it's more the real-time ECPMs that don't work with a lot of networks. So you constantly have to keep looking at them to see which one you switch to back and forth. Now some of them do have real-time ECPM updates, but it's only like a few of them, and it's so complicated the way that it works that a lot of times I'll just go back to AdMob. It's like you have this pipe of water that goes through, and you're diverting little bits off in the hope that would be more plentiful, but then you find out really you're just removing from the main flow. So I'm thinking, is it worth diverting some of it? It's kind of the same as if you do house ads. If you do house ads, you're advertising your own apps, you're advertising your own website, your own whatever, but then you're also removing some of your revenue. And even though it's small, it's still better than nothing. So let's see. So Mo Abdallah, hey, how's it going? Is there going to be a Q&A? I think this is, yeah, it's kind of the Q&A. I mean, the whole live stream is really just a Q&A. When we started up, I don't know what to talk about. I don't really have anything planned. It's not like the daily video where I try to think of a topic each day. I just kind of start up the camera and hope and just pray that someone will be here. And when I started doing the live streams, Mo, my biggest fear was that nobody would show up. So I was like, thinking, I don't know if I want to do this live stream. And that hasn't happened except one time when somebody had changed the settings to unlisted, and I started doing the live stream and nobody showed up, and I just kept sitting here talking for like 5 minutes, and it was like I started sweating because I was like, oh my God, nobody's showing up. My worst fears have been realized, and it turned out I was unlisted, and then I went and did it, and everyone showed up. But yeah, it is kind of the Q&A. So if you have a Q, I'll A it. DS Bailey, hey, how's it going? Rodrigo, that sounded like Man in Black getting out of the car with suit and sunglasses. I know it was. It felt really cool. I felt like I was like pulling up my trousers. Yes, man, we're here to talk about your app. You show me to the scene of the crime. So Alex, hey Eric, hey Alex, how's it going? I'm doing all right. Everything's going pretty well. In fact, this year has been really good so far. Just surprisingly well. It's we've been. Yeah, I mean the revenue's been good. We signed a lot of some really good deals so far this year in terms of client work, which was a nice start to the year. But it's still, still trying to keep my head above water. That's what I'm doing. Like I did the video this week where I talked about my app revenue, and I always feel a bit silly about that, talking about the app revenue, because it's like it doesn't really add any value. It just says, hey, here's how much I make. But I think it's good just because when I was starting, well, I mean, even now, it's always interesting to hear what other people are making in apps, because you think either, is this normal? Is there something I could be doing different? All that kind of stuff. So, so that's one of the things. Also, so every so often I'll do the revenue, but it just feels kind of like I'm just showing off. But that got more views than most of the other ones. So, but even despite that, so saying that I made. So through the app income, through in-app purchases and iOS and everything, it was like I was surprised myself. It came to like £39,000, which is like a full-time job if I was doing it, and I wasn't. It was like off on its own. But my overheads are so high that it's with the office and everything that but it's still like it's nice that it was like that. So it is. I guess the takeaway would be that it is possible. It still works. It's just and. It's not like my apps are the ones that everybody's heard of. I mean, I've never met anybody in my whole life, even those the millions of downloads we had. I've never actually met anybody when they said, "What kind of app are you working on?" When I said it, that they knew what it was. Like it's just like it's not a household name. It's not something that people would have heard of. And even when I meet people and they say, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm an app developer." Then they'll say, "Have you done anything I've heard of?" And I'll say, like, "Yeah, probably not." Probably not. And I usually won't tell them about the big apps that I do. So, but yeah, it's been a good week. So, yeah. Oh, Mark said no helicopter entrance. Any Corona developers around? Oh yeah. Corona developers. Yeah, thanks, Mark. So, if there's any Corona developers out there that are looking to do a bit of part-time work, we're looking for a Corona developer. Ideally, it'll be someone. So it's an existing application that. That the previous developer was he was very handsome. No, it was something that I worked on last year. We need to make some changes to it, and I have very little time. So if somebody's willing to come in, if there's a Corona developer out there, it has to be somebody with a Mac so they could test on iOS. That's one of the things. I mean, it's not because Macs are better, because that's definitely not the case, but mainly just the iOS side of things, so they could do iOS and Android. So I'm just putting it out there. If anybody out there is looking for a bit of Corona work, get in touch. It'll be a small bit of work, probably a couple days. However, we have a lot of these in the future. It'd be nice to have. So I used to have like a full-time Corona developer on the team, and it was just we just didn't have enough work. And then so I took over the Corona work, and it's kind of this thing where every time I'm working on code, it's like, I should be working on something else, and it gets really difficult doing all the testing and everything. So yeah, let me put that out there. And in terms of the helicopter entrance, Mark, yeah, we're talking about doing a promo video. So we're talking about different ideas for promo videos, and I have certain ideas I want to do. We're talking about, should we do a helicopter thing or whatever, and just something. I really, this year I want to get more, not so much for you guys, but more towards getting new clients, being able to put Facebook ads out there, because I've done so much reading on Facebook ads. I've done so much on landing pages, the whole funnel thing, right? And I want to do more of those, but I'm thinking, if I do a Facebook ad, do I want it to be like this, where I'm just talking to a camera, or should I do something really cool, like an action hero type scene? So that's kind of what we've been talking about. Billy, hey, how's it going? Hey, Fist007. Yeah, Fist007. That was an interesting question you had about me having to pay taxes. That was something that I asked around about that. So earlier today, Fist007. Sorry, I'm rambling. Somebody told me last week I was rambling. So I'm gonna take a deep breath. If I start rambling, I want you guys to say, Eric, calm the F down. Eric, calm down, right? So anyway, so yeah, Fist asked earlier if I have to, as an American living in the UK, if I have to pay U.S. income tax, and yes, I do. If I make too much money and I pay the UK government, then I have to pay the U.S. government. And even though I don't live over there, I haven't been working over there for years, but it's one of these things. And I've actually thought about, a couple years ago, I thought about denouncing my citizenship, even though it's the core of my identity. I was in the U.S. Army. I grew up American. I considered myself American. Anytime anybody talks to me, they say, where's that accent from? So I'm like the poster child of being an American, right? And then I thought about denouncing my citizenship just because I hate having to get an accountant every year. It's like these 3 or 4 hours of just inconvenience each year. I'm thinking, screw it, I'm going to change my entire identity. So I still have the U.S. citizenship, even though I've lived out here for 20 years. I don't have British citizenship, even though, and people are surprised about that. They think, why don't you? And I think it's because I never really just looked into it. I think I have to give up one citizenship or whatever. It's one of these things I have to look into even further. So, Mass Inc. Let's see, Mass Inc. Best method of doing app SEO. The best thing you could do. So Mass Inc. I know we talk about this all the time, but you have to think about the SEO. SEO or ASO is App Store optimization, or if you talk about SEO, it would be a search engine optimization. But really, is how are people going to find your application, right? Is it going to be? You have to assume. So your app is either going to be something completely new that people don't know it exists, or it's going to be something that people are looking for. And if it's something that people are looking for, you have to make sure that when they're searching for it, they can find what you have. So if you have something that's very, very generic and very broad, then there might be lots of in that already, and they're already ranking high for those keywords. So you might have to find some alternative keywords, almost like synonyms that you can rank for there, or even go further into a niche. So what people are searching for. So one of my big apps is Ear Agent. I know I talk about this all the time, but that was one where the idea was to be able to hear better, to be able to do whatever. But I took the whole spy theme and everything, and now it's this whole, there's so many copycats out there. The whole spy themed hearing apps. But it was more taking that, because I could have been very generic with it and said it's a hearing app. And I did release 2 versions of it. I did one called Ear Assist and one called Ear Spy, and they were exact same applications, but the Ear Spy did much better because it had this creepiness to it, this uniqueness to it, and almost a sex appeal to it. So if you have an app that people are searching for, then what would they be searching for, and what else would they be searching for? So like somebody last week was saying, on last week's live stream was saying they have a video player. And how could they rank for that? And it was almost like, if there's already too many video players out there, including the stock one on your phone, what can you do that would serve that same audience, but something else they might be looking for? So they might be a cinema enthusiast, they might be interested in certain types of films, and so forth. So that's never happened in a live stream before. Yep. So from Romania, cool. Sorry about that. I got to figure out how to put the silence on these phones. You start ringing on another one. So that's one of the things. So Mass Inc. And we talk about this all the time. If you do some search, Google App Store optimization. I've done several videos on it myself. We are going to do a course sometime in the future, but we talk about the principles of it all the time. But it's very basic. There's all these tools out there, and you have to think about. I talk about the 3 different stages of getting the app downloaded. First, you have to be discovered. So are you going to be discovered through search? Are you going to be discovered through ads? Are you going to go out and actually put your app in front of people through advertisements? That's one level. And if they're finding your App Store page and they're not downloading it, then at that point you have to look at your screenshots, you have to look at your description, so that they found it, they've discovered it, but they're not interested. And then why is that? Maybe it's not enticing enough. And then when they download it, are they making purchases? And that's the 3rd stage. So a lot of you have to think about it, and I make this analogy a lot with the restaurant. Like if you have a restaurant on the outskirts of town and nobody's walking through the front door, changing your menu is not going to make a difference, right? Because that's not what you're looking at the wrong stage. What you have to do is change the sign. You have to make sure that people can find it. You have to make sure it's unique, so when they're searching for it, they find your restaurant, right? And then once they walk in the door, then if they're not buying anything at that point, you have to look at the interior, look at the which would be the analogy of the screenshot. So the sign on the front would be the icon and the title and the search terms. Once you walk into the restaurant, if you walk right back out again, that's because maybe maybe it's messy, maybe the menu's no good, whatever. But then at that point you look at that. So a lot of people, when they call me, they said, nobody's downloading my app, should I change it? And so, well, no, if nobody knows it exists, then it's still a good idea. You had a good, and I say this all the time, if you had a good idea and nobody's found it, it's still a good idea. And when they find it, they'll be seeing it for the first time, and they may have the same excitement you had when you thought of the idea. Anyway, Basik, sorry, I go off on a ramble there. I'm just realizing I'm not going to hear you guys when you say, Eric, calm down, because I have to scroll all the way down to the bottom. Let's see, Rodrigo, I got a question about mediation. Does Facebook Audience Network work well with AdMob Auto ECPM? Can AdMob grab the ECPM automatically without me updating it? I don't think so. At least it didn't last year. When I did my revenue report, I realized that I hadn't used. It's been like 11 months since I've used Facebook Audience Network, although it's been set up as mediation. I think I just set the floor of it to. I just disabled it. I just disabled it through AdMob, even though I already have the libraries there, so I could switch it on if I did. But yeah, back then it wasn't auto updating, so I wasn't having that at all. And that's one of the things. It's like if you're vigilant and every day you're looking at the ECPMs, but if you're not sending any traffic to that network, you don't know what the ECPMs is anyway. So it's kind of like you have to divert the flow of ads from AdMob to something else, so you could test to see whether or not it's better than AdMob. And if it isn't, you have to go back to AdMob, and that's going to cost you to do that. So I think that would be one thing about the open bidding. If it works better that way, I think it would be much better. Let's see. Krister Nordbo says, do you collect any data to tag the AdMob instance with relevant data, trying to target the ads, or do you just leave it the defaults? I just leave it the defaults. I remember when Firebase Analytics came out, they were talking about how you could track the ad clicks. No, you can't track the ad clicks in Firebase Analytics. So I mean, that's something. Although, if you use what I wanted to do with that data, which I wasn't able to do, is I wanted to be able to give it to people who are likely to click on ads, right? The same way you could do a universal app campaign and say, I want it to be, so you could set up, start watching using the machine learning, which Google Universal Analytics has in it, and say people who are likely to make in-app purchases, I want to advertise to them, right? So that is something, and you set up a lookalike audience for that. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do it, but based on the learning algorithms and stuff, that's the way that it should work. I did that for a while, but it was I guess I didn't see that much in it. So what happened was I had that set up and I had it running for a couple months. I didn't see a huge increase, but and then I had my app removed for like a few weeks, and then that disabled the ads. And when I started the app back up again, when I finally got it restored after appealing it a couple of times, I just didn't bother to turn it back on again. So but so that's, I mean, I'm assuming that's what you mean, Krister. If that's no, I don't do anything like in terms of retargeting. So I just leave it on the defaults. I feel bad about saying that. Whenever you say, like, as a developer, whenever you say I just leave the defaults, I feel like I'm not doing enough. But I mean, it seems to be working all right for me. I haven't really drilled down into that too much. Alex Almeida says, I released my first game. It's called Necro Blackjack on Apple Store. I'm so happy. Haha, cool. Alex, you want us to have a look at that? Or actually, maybe you do, maybe don't. I won't do it without hearing from you. CH Development, and CH is your initials, says, has anyone tried selling ad space on their apps in a personal capacity, like to create an in-house ad for someone you sold to? Now, I've done, so at one of the AdMob events I attended maybe 3 or 4 years ago, they talked about an evolution of your ads. So you start off using an ad network like AdMob, but as you start to get a bit of traction, then you go out and find sponsors and do it yourself. So, which makes a bit of sense, and I've done that. I've tried to do that, but not with any real success. So I tried to find. I contacted several hearing aid companies to see if they would want to sponsor the app. Because if I could tell, so you know how many ad impressions you have, you know how many, so you could tell them, I can give you 5,000 unique users a day that are specifically interested in the type of thing that you have. So for me, it was either spy gear or hearing aid equipment. So I did a campaign where I reached out to all these different hearing aid companies, and because I outranked them for the term hearing aid on every app store, but they still didn't come back to me. It's kind of like those things, it's probably somebody who, they would have been beneficial to them. I probably should have pressed them a little bit further. And then I did the same thing with spy marketing agencies, but nobody ever answers emails anyway. So I probably should just, if I was more assertive, I probably should have got on the phone and called them, but I didn't. And then one time I contacted, so EarSpy was the top spy app. Now it was like number 3, even though it doesn't have the word spy in it anymore on Google Play. I think it's still number 3. And I contacted Sony Pictures because the movie Spectre was coming out. And I contacted them, and I just did a cold email to like the managing director. I did this little trick that you could do with Rapportive to find an email address of anybody, and I just emailed him, and then he put me to like the head of films, and I went and had a meeting with them in London. It was really cool because I said I have the top spy app, and it was immediately they just they contacted me, and we talked about doing not something for Spectre, but for like another movie, Grimsby. And we did a little proposal and everything, but it never worked out. But I mean, that's one thing you could try it, but you have to have the traffic. If you have the traffic and you could go, like, let's say your app is, let's say you have a taxi app. Not a taxi app. Let's say you have a, let's say you have a taxi app. Then you would think about what companies can you approach that people who are looking for a taxi, that they would be interested in that. So right now, the thing about AdMob, and I know they do a bit, like if I look at Ear Agent, there'll be hearing aid ads in there, but it's still the lowest bidder, or it's still the bidding system. And it would make sense that if you were able to have somebody actually sponsor your application, you could do that way. So, but I haven't. I mean, I've tried to do it, but I haven't done it successfully. I guess is my thing there, Alex. CH Development says, CH Development. Mega Man, hey Eric, have you bought or sold any app or website on Flippa? Never. And people have asked me about that. And I've looked at Flippa, and I haven't. No, I haven't even thought about, because I think for me, my own apps, even the ones that aren't doing that well, I kind of hope they will. I kind of hope they will do well. And if they get suspended, then I think they're not, or get removed, then I don't think they're worth much anyway. But I have had people approach me about buying some of the apps, but the price was always so low, and I still think I could do better with them. I feel like, if I just put a little bit more elbow grease into the ASO on these, they'll do a little bit better. So I haven't done that. And in terms of buying an app through Flippa, I had a look, and I didn't see anything that looked worthwhile to do. And I think for me, because you realize we've had these reseller websites out there for so long. You just buy code for cheap and just reskin it, reskinning websites like Chupa Mobile, and I think it's Ragdog Studios. There's a few. There's a bunch of them. Some of them are Corona based, but so they're out there. Or even Code Canyon. You could buy code from there and you just reskin it. But that's not the problem. Most of the problem we have is not is not the code. It's just it's the audience. Like, can we get this in front of the right people? Can we do the marketing in the right way? And that's why if I was to buy something for Flippa, it would only, or if I was buying an existing application, it would have to come with a user base with it. Otherwise, I'm just buying something that I could write myself. But that's my opinion of it. I could be completely wrong about that, Mega Man. So let's see. Rahul Singh says, Eric, one of my apps suddenly started getting 33% less expression as well as downloads as per Google console report since the last 3 days. I've not changed anything. Can you suggest something? Have a look. Take a look at the user acquisition report. I mean, are you still getting this? I mean, and you might have to wait a week because it might take a week, but take a look. Are you getting less impressions of the page? And if you have enough traffic through that, you could look at the organic keywords that were found through there. So take a look last week what the organic keywords people were finding it. Do a search on that and then see if because maybe something else. It could be something else that's come in and taken your spot, like they're outranking you, or maybe some other traffic going towards them. So have a look at that, and then I mean it's not a solution to the problem, but at least you could, if you identify what it is, then you can work on it. What are they doing? If it's a competitor that's come in, if it's just dropped for an unexplained reason, then I mean yeah, I mean you do a bit of detective work. That's all I could think of. That's what I do. I do a lot of. And sometimes you could be jumping to conclusions. So like if my app goes down, I start looking at other stuff. Like, why are they doing better? Why is that? And sometimes there's so many different factors at play that you cannot see, like the reviews. Well, you can see the reviews, but you know, it's like sometimes you could see an app that has, like when you first starting doing ASO, you think, oh, I'll just mention the keyword more times than the other guy, and then I'll rank higher. But that's not the way it is. It's also you got the backlinks, you've got the reviews, you've got the the user retention stats, all these things you can't see, but you can make assumptions based on that. So that would be what I'd say. Okay, let's see. Mikhail says, so basically you skipped my question. Mikhail, I'm sorry about that, Mikhail. I just missed it. All right, thanks for catching me on that. Can I contact you? Oh, sorry, Mikhail, sorry about that. I missed that. Can I contact you for a private consultants? There is a link on our website. So if you go to overpass.co.uk, there is a link where if you wanted to buy some of my time for private consultants, you could. It's not that expensive. I think we do 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. I really didn't want to put that on there. And I used to just be like, yeah, I give my Skype address out to anybody. And it just got so much where I had so many people asking me questions that it really, and also got clients that are, we're behind on a project. I need to give them attention. That it got to a point where I had to put that consultancy link on there. But it's also the reason why we do the live stream. So this is the perfect place where we could do it for free, put it out to the group, and say, what would we like to talk about? But if you actually want to hire me, Mikhail, for one-on-one consultancy, yeah, there is a link on our website to do it. I don't have the URL with me to hand, but if you look at our website, one of the menu options says consultancy, and we could do that. But yeah, it's not. I don't have a lot of time for. I mean, it's just my schedule is so full where I'm getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. A lot of times I'm in the office at 10 o'clock at night, and it's still, there's so many things I can't do that I want to do, and it's not like poor me. It's like my schedule is full. So I hope that answers that, Mikhail. Let's see. Rodrigo, he was very handsome. Who said that? Oh, the developer. We're behind on these questions. Let's see. Yeah, it is mentioned in every video description. The stuff. So let's see. So yeah, the email address is there. Rahul Singh says, Eric, I've started doing non-gaming apps. Do you think Dart is a language that can last time? Last time Google created Kotlin, and it's not sure that in use. I know C# and C. I don't think Google's going to drop it. I mean, here's what I think. So a lot of people ask about Java or Kotlin, and I did a video where I did Java or Kotlin, and I get so many bad reviews just because I said in the video I've never used Kotlin, right? And everyone said, man, I watched this whole video and you suck and all this stuff. So anyway. But my whole mode of thinking on this is that Java is what, 25 years old? I mean, it's Java, or even more than that. It's probably more than that. But I mean, I remember when I started in IT. When I started in IT, it was in 1998, and I remember getting a book from the library on Java, I think Java 2 or something like that. So I mean, it's been around. I mean, it's been around a long time, and we're talking about before the web. Oh, well, not before the web. Maybe before the web, but before mobile, before everything. So we're still using Java. And if Google says, hey, we've, based on the way code, I mean, and code has moved forward so much. Machine processing has moved forward so much. Everything has moved forward a lot, but we're still using a lot of the languages we used back then. So if Google, who should know, says we have this language that's better called Kotlin, then you think, well, obviously they're taking into consideration a lot of things, problems people have had with Java. And that's just, again, like, my coming to it from I still use Java because I know that Java is more portable and I can use it in more places. But it's the same as JavaScript. The reason I love JavaScript is because you can use it everywhere, but it's not the most efficient. Like, it's still an old language too. I mean, yeah, it's really old, and it was meant in the browser and all this kind of stuff. And but yeah, Dart may be a better solution. But then you're thinking, it's more where you can use it. I was a VB developer for many years, and I was a C# developer for many years. And the problem I had with both of those was that I could only use them on a Windows server or a Windows client, and it was really kind of difficult. It's the same way with iOS. You have to have a Mac. It's like, but then you have other languages. Sorry, am I rambling? I'm kind of rambling a bit. Then you have other languages like Node.js, like Java, like that are just, they're portable. You can use them everywhere. And I guess with Mono you can use C#, other places in .NET, other places too. But so I would say I wouldn't be afraid of Kotlin, and I wouldn't be afraid of Dart. And I think the opportunity there is that if there are real benefits to Dart, right, and businesses start realizing it, and they start looking for a Dart developer, and nobody's learned it because they can't get a job in that, and you're like one of the few people who could do it, or you're like one of the, I mean, I know it's been around for a while, and there's people doing tutorials all the time, but like in your area, if you're really good at something that's rare, then you would be able to earn more money for it. I mean, there's I think I've talked about this in a video once before, where I was talking to a guy. I was working in an investment bank, and I was a contractor. He was a contractor. I was doing ASP, or yeah, it was ASP.NET, and he was doing some trading system that was like really old, like it was really old trading system, and I was telling him how we should learn ASP.NET and web because there's so many more jobs, and then he was saying, well, the reason he's so highly paid is because he's one of the few people with that skill. So I was making like 350 pounds a day, and at that time, and he was making like 1,000 pounds a day, right? It was just like, oh my God, right? And there's certain areas, like if you're one of the first people to know it and there's not a lot of people, then you're going to get paid a lot. But then it might even out where everybody goes into that because, oh, he's made a lot of money doing that. And then eventually you get to the point where nobody's using it anywhere because everyone's moved on to another language, and you're still the guy who knows it. So then you get paid a lot then too, because you're rare. It's a rare skill. So I wouldn't shy away from that. Harsh Sharma says, any tips for future app development entrepreneurs? I've talked about it before. I think, I really liked the idea of using hybrid, but they had the shortcomings of being, in a web view, and now you've got things like Flutter, you've got other technologies coming out, and you really get, it's evolving, where it's going to get to the point where if you could do something in a fraction of the time of Flutter that it would take you to do in iOS and Android native, then that would be something that it would be a game changer. It would be almost like it'd be like a digital camera versus a film camera or something like that. It's like you could be on the forefront of that. If you ever talk to a developer who worked on a system that's really old, and they got really old web forms, and they're on really old architecture, and they're not using cloud infrastructure, so all the advances that have happened since then you know that they have legacy issues they have to deal with, and if you're starting out right now and you don't go with like an older technology, then you might not have the legacy issues in a few years' time that they have because you started with the latest stuff. So the worst thing I think you could do, and this is, again, everything is just my opinion, but I would say that if you're starting out as a developer today, you don't want to learn a language, or you don't want to use technology that's really old, right? It's just, I think it's just because things just evolve so quickly, and I think about this because I worked on a CRM system. I worked on a CRM system back in the late, so like 2009, 2010, and it had to run on IE6 because it used client-side VB script, because it was all this old legacy stuff, and there were so many businesses that had so much in it but it was only so far you could go with it because it just had all these legacy, and it was a dying technology, and they couldn't bring it up to speed because it was just too much to change because they had that. So it was like the CRM company that did it, I think they were dying off because they just couldn't rewrite everything they had. And if you're starting out new, you're not going to have those kind of issues. And especially if you're using a technology where you can write things in a fraction of the time that it took somebody to do who's using a technology from 8 or 9 years ago, then I think you'll be better off. So, yeah, and then like CH Development said, hard work. So let's see. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm way down on the. Oh, I'm sorry about this. I'm rambling. You guys need to tell me to calm down. Calm down, Eric. Let's see. Let's see. Where was I? Fist007 says, how would you market software, desktop software, targeted towards specific industry, restaurants management software? So, if you're specifically going to a specific industry, you're much better. I mean, yeah, you're much better off than someone who's not. So I would do. That's a perfect opportunity for Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads. So you could do something where you have. Because you're looking for restaurant owners, and because you could, on LinkedIn, you could find restaurants of the type of size that you want, and the the type of location, and you can just really drill down on your target user, and then you can serve them ads and send them to a landing page. So, and this is something that we need to do more of, but we've done a little bit, but not really very much. But so let's say you have a software that serves many industries, then it would be hard to find them. But if you had one that serves just restaurants, then you could target an ad towards restaurant owners on LinkedIn because you can know who they are on LinkedIn. On Facebook, you could target it. There's probably ways to do it where you say people who like this certain page that restaurant owners like or whatever. But if you just got them through LinkedIn, and for me, LinkedIn ads are way more expensive than Facebook ads. So you get them on LinkedIn, they go to your page, you pound a Facebook pixel, you retarget them through Facebook, and you can just keep going that way. And if it's something that generally serves their purpose, then you could do that. And if it's something geared towards restaurant owners and not something like an app, then you could have a recurring revenue where you have the subscription basis, and you can even demonstrate how it will help them. So this is something I keep thinking about. I keep thinking we need to specialize on a certain industry and build like a SaaS software as a service system so that we can serve specifically them, and then we know exactly who our target user is, and then we can just target them. The problem with the apps, and the problems with my apps specifically, is that I kind of know who the target user is, but my cost of acquiring that user is more than I make from the application itself. The app itself doesn't make enough money. Now we talk about I could improve the apps and start charging a subscription, but I haven't done that. And but if I made it, so let's say if for Mandarin Bubble Bath, which is one of our games to learn Chinese Mandarin or like flashcard type thing, let's say for every user I made £10, then I know that I could spend £8 to acquire that user through Facebook ads and all the retargeting and everything like that. But I make typically I make cents. If they make an in-app purchase, then maybe I'll make a couple pounds. But for most of them, they'll use a free version and then move on. So, and the same with the other apps. So, but if you have something like a software as a service type of thing, then yeah, I mean you'd be better off. I think that sounds exciting to me. So let's see, Rodrigo. There's still no automation. There might be automation on Facebook Audience Network now, but I'm not sure. Vertigo 101 says, hey, big fan. Thank you, Vertigo. Appreciate it. Peltic says, hello. How long did it take your app Ear Agent Super Hearing to rank first on the keyword spy? it was like 2 years, I think. Um, so, but it was something I was checking all the time. It was like further down on the list, and maybe it was 1 year, but it's, yeah, I can't remember. And it still goes up and down a little bit, off and on. And right now it's like number 3, but it did take a while. I mean, a lot of times people, like sometimes people will email me and they'll say, I just released my app and it's not ranking for anything, for my keywords or even for my title. What do I do? I say, when did you release it? And they said yesterday. And it's like, well, it takes a couple days at least, and then you have to get the social proof and everything like that. So it took about a year, I think. I'm sorry, I should know the answer to that, Peltic. I'm sorry, I should know the exact answer to that. I'm trying to think, how would I find that out? I could do it if I had if I was paying for, I suppose I could check maybe App Annie, but I don't think it goes back that far. Let's see. Vertigo 101 says, what do you think about Flutter versus React Native, given the fact that Google will replace Android with Fuchsia in a few years, and Flutter being Google technology would be a 1 plus 1. You know what? I get the Flutter question a lot, and I do. My preference would be for Flutter. I mean, it's mainly not so much a Fuchsia thing, because I don't know. I haven't done a lot of look into Fuchsia, and I know it's gonna be big and everything like that. But it's kind of like it's too far off the horizon for me. I'm not thinking about it now because I can't make any money with it right now, and nobody's looking for it right now. And it's almost like when a beta version of an operating system comes out. I know I should be like checking out the new features, but I'm kind of like I'll sort that out when it happens. Unless it's for a client and it might break it, and that's the one thing. But for my own apps, I don't usually jump on that because it's just too far ahead, and unless I think there's going to be an advantage there. But I do think the thing that I like about Flutter over React Native, and we've done both. Well, actually, no, we haven't released anything in Flutter, but we've done quite a few React Native apps. Is the dependency hell? I'm so sick of every time I need to build another version of an app in React Native, some dependency has changed somewhere, and I need to go through, and I'm not running the right node version. I'm not running the right, I need to, whatever my, is it Babel? There's all those different libraries that are there that are always, whatever it is, it's wrong. It's like, what am I doing wrong this time? And it just drives me crazy. So, and it's the same with Ionic. I mean, but it's a lot of these things. They're really cool the way they work, but it just seems like they're very fragile, at least in my opinion. Now, if you're like a really hardcore JavaScript guy, all that stuff makes sense to you. But like for me, a lot of times my developers are doing the React Native because I do a little bit of React Native, but I'm not enough to be of any use to anybody. But I do the build, so I'll do the builds and the signing it and everything like that. So the developers will check everything into Git. I check, I pull the latest version, I run through it, and then great, it's not working. And now basically all I have is all the command line stuff and the line numbers, and then I'm playing the detective. I'm thinking, okay, what's wrong now? I'm Googling, I'm on Stack Overflow, and it just drives me crazy. And I'm wondering, is it a system update on my side? Is it something that's changed on their side? Is it something that's happened in NPM? Is it one of the dependencies has been upgraded and I don't have it specified properly in my package.json? And it drives me. That's why I like the Flutter. Now, Flutter might have these issues too, but I haven't seen it yet. So, and I would hope that they would, because it's one system. It's not like but that's just my opinion. So Fizz007 says you should advertise audio tech companies headphones and speaker. I thought so. Actually, I should show you guys. It's in a drawer over here. 3 or 4 years ago, I went to the Chinese website that everybody uses, Alibaba, and I found a tech company that makes Bluetooth headsets, and I was going to buy all these little Bluetooth headsets and get them EarSpy branded, everything. And I got the demo sent over to me, and I thought I was spending like $6,000 to have it, and I'll put it on Amazon and everything. So if you buy EarSpy, you could also buy it for like $20 on Amazon. And it was just this thing where I just got cold feet at the end, and I didn't do it. So I have like the demo version of it, and as I think, if you have to deal with returns, if you have to deal with people telling you, oh, the hardware doesn't work now, give me my money back, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't go that way. But yeah, no, you're right. So, but if I sponsor somebody else, it would. And then one of the big things I have with the your agent is people say it doesn't work with my headset or it doesn't work with my phone. On iPhone, it's easier to test, but on Android, there's so many different types of Android phones and so many different types of headphones that sometimes I'm just, my whole thing is, I'm sorry it didn't work. It works. Other people say it works really well. Some people say it doesn't work well for them at all. And the only thing I could really do, rather than test every single Android phone, which would be impossible, and every single headset, which would be impossible, is I just say, if you made a purchase, we'll refund it. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you. Which is, it's kind of like a standard template in my library now. Vertigo 101 says, it would be nice to get your input on, oh, sorry, I think I did that, the Flutter thing. Mr. Neptune says, how many clients do you tend to at once? I don't know if I want to say. Let me think about that, because I'm not sure if I want to say that or not. Because it's not so much you guys, it's more I don't want other clients, like when we're really busy, I don't want other clients to think that we're not focusing on them. So it's not a lot. It's less than 10. So it's not a lot. Christopher Nobro says Apple keeps rejecting based on metadata. Hopefully out soon. App is made for a specific audience. Apple, yeah, you know what, Apple. Don't get me started about Apple rejections. At least it's only on metadata. So you just have to change the metadata. It's not the app itself. So you can change the metadata and just keep resubmitting it. So that's possible. We're slamming doors over there. Anvit Singh Chadba says, just started following you. Thank you very much. Welcome, Anvit. Appreciate it. Let's see. CH Development, CH is his initials, as we've established earlier, says, is it possible to transfer an app from one account to another if someone was to buy your app? Yeah, it definitely is on Apple, and must be on Google Play. No, it is. No, it is. Because we did it with, no, wait. Is it on Google Play? I know we've done it on an Apple account. There's an option in the iOS side, and I'm trying to think if we did it with the Android version. There must be. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that. I feel like, sometimes I don't know the answer to that one. But there must be a way to do it. I mean, people change apps change hands all the time. In fact, one of the things that I have when clients come to us, every so often you get somebody like a client that they've fallen out with their existing developers and they want to move their app over to us, but then the app was released under the name of the other developer, which is ridiculous. So they have to move it over and everything like that. So it must be possible, but then make sure that you have the key store file and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, a Vertigo 101. Okay, so for useful for the grows. Frank Todd says, are you coding in Android Studio or something else? When I do Android development, I'll do Android Studio. And I do Flutter, I'll do Android Studio 2, which is really just the demo. The tool I use most often is WebStorm, because we still do a lot of Cordova stuff. We do React Native, and I do some Cordova. And even though Cordova is, Corona. Do some Corona, and even though Corona is in Lua, it's not JavaScript, I still use the IDE, and I know where everything is there. So I really like the JetBrains tool, and I have the whole JetBrains suite. So I'll use I won't use Android Studio so much as I use IntelliJ, which is the same thing. And the only reason I use IntelliJ is because I'm paying for it, and I figured I might as well. And occasionally I'll use PHP Storm if I do some WordPress stuff, which is not that often. And I've tried to use AppCode, which is a much nicer. So AppCode is the Objective-C one to do iOS apps, and it's a much nicer experience than Xcode. Except I always have issues with it. So even though I use Xcode also, and I hate Xcode. Xcode is such a dumb interface. It seems like everything's put in too many different places. There's nothing elegant about Xcode, in my opinion, that I hate using it. Even the little things like if I click on a file too many times, it opens up in a new window, and I go figure out how to get it back into the IDE, all this kind of stuff. I just hate it. So it's just me. Xcode. Don't say Xcode. It makes me twitch. But yeah, so Android Studio. I haven't used Android. I use Android Studio sometimes. If I'm using, so I use IntelliJ mostly for Android, and there's no real reason. Like I said, it's the same as Android Studio. Android Studio is a version of IntelliJ. But occasionally, when something doesn't work in IntelliJ, and like the Gradle version or whatever is all off, sometimes I'll load it up in Android Studio just to see if it's something environmental or if it's something in the code. So and then of course I get certain issues here and there. But let's see. Manly Celicourt says, do you prefer admin or Facebook Audience Network? Oh, so I think you meant AdMob or Facebook Audience Network for iOS apps. I'm still an AdMob fan, so I still use that. I've used Facebook Audience Network only through mediation, and I just haven't really seen the benefits of it really for me. I mean, but I've talked to other developers who Facebook Audience Network does way better than AdMob does for them. But for me, AdMob does much better, especially, and the RPMs on iOS are much better. Or at least, yeah, they're much better than they are on the Android side too. So DS Bailey Freelancer says, I had such high hopes for Java when it came out. I studied it religiously. So DS Bailey, when did Java come out? I mean, do you remember when that was? Because I know it was. Let's see. I developed in VB for DOS. God, showing my age. So I started VB6. I'm sorry, VB5. And I did a video about this once. I think the book that changed my life the most in my lifetime was, it wasn't some self-help book or religious book. It was Visual Basic 5 in 21 days, because that was a one thing when I started reading it. I got my job that first job at investment bank, and everything was over my head. And I got this book from the learning library there, and I started reading it, and I felt like I could do this stuff. And then from there, it was like learning VB5. Then when VB6 came out, moved into that, and then and using Visual InterDev for ASP pages. God, oh, those are the days. And then moving, and then when .NET came out, it was so foreign to me. It's, and I'm thinking, do we do VB.NET or move to C# with all the curly brackets? I remember when curly brackets were really scary to me, and now I can't. Now I love curly brackets. It's so logical to me rather than if and if. And when I see other languages like Python and Lua where they don't use the curly brackets, it kind of throws me a little bit. I mean, so I'm sold on the whole curly bracket thing, although I remember when it was really, really scary to me. JM said, in today's video you talked about B2B. I'm curious, how do you acquire them? Marketing, cold calling, something else? Thanks, Eric. So Jay, that's a really good question, and we should talk about that. Well, sometimes in the daily videos, I feel like I talk about clients and client acquisition a little bit too much, because people who are not interested in that, it just completely turns them off, and they'll tell me in the comments, I feel like I'm going cold on this channel, but it is something we think about a lot. So for me, Jay, it's, when we started, so I'll show you some of the books. I did a video on this once before where I got all these books on cold calling, and I was going to be like, I'm just going to swallow my pride. I'm just going to cold call all these companies, and I'm just going to do it. I called like half a dozen. I mean, I left a contract, and I thought I'm just going to focus on Overpass, and for like 2 years, I probably cold called like a half a dozen companies, and it was worse than asking a girl out on a date when you're a kid. You're just like, you call, you're sweating, like in my case. And I know other people are like, dude, I don't have a problem with it at all. Like, but I just do. There's something about it, calling somebody on the phone, that I just don't like. And so I call up, and then it's ringing, and you're like, okay, practice. Hi, I'm Mary. And then they pick up the phone, and my voice goes all funny, and it's like asking a girl on a date. Like, once they figure out what's going on, the whole conversation changes. It's like, hey, how's it going? Good. How are you? Good, great. Can I talk to your head of app development? And it's just everything goes bad, and because businesses get so many cold calls. I get a lot of cold calls. Nobody really likes the cold calls, and I hate that. So we did a little bit with advertising. The reason we didn't do more advertising last year was because we had so much work, and it just getting the delivery right, just getting, focusing a lot on delivering what we could do. But now we're at the point where we're scaling so much. We got the processes in place. We're going to do more advertising this year, and then there's also building the brand. So I started blogging on our website. In 2012. No, I started blogging on the website in 2004, but then in 2012 I just scrapped the old site and started a new one. on the same domain, but like this, and that's something you should never do. Like for your SEO purposes, you just get rid of all your old pages. I'm starting fresh. So I was blogging 3 or 4 times a week, and then I was hiring somebody to blog. So we're trying to get the SEO right. We've got a lot of SEO work that's gone into our site, and then we started doing the videos once a week, which was really kind of awkward, and then doing them daily. So there's people. So when companies find us, a lot of times it's still through SEO. So it's through the articles that we've done in the past. They're doing local searches, all that kind of stuff. So they're finding us, and usually when they find us, they're already interested. So I don't have to call around companies and think hopefully they need our services. So they call us, and then but if it's from outside the UK, a lot of times it's through the videos and through the social media and stuff like that. So but there's a lot of that. So always thinking about client acquisition and how do we bring people in. Right now, how can we differentiate ourselves from other companies who do the similar thing? Because there's so many app development companies out there, and we're doing okay, right? It's like it's not great, but like I haven't done hardly any advertising yet. I did an advertising campaign last year for construction companies because for some reason we're getting a lot. We went through this spate of getting like a lot of construction companies as clients. I think it's because I'm so brawny and tough, right? So we started getting. So I did an ad campaign, and I did the full funnel thing where I did, download our free report on how to make a construction app and everything, and I put it on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn ads are just so expensive that I stopped after a while. But it's something I want to resume again. Not so much for construction companies, but I do want to do more ads and more video ads. I mean, doing the daily video, you would think that doing a video ad would be easy, but there's part of me which I cringe at the idea of having a pre-roll video ad on other people's channels on YouTube. It's just something, it's like if people come to the channel and like I feel like I could talk to them, but I don't want to show up in front of them. Hey, I'm Eric and I make apps, and you need an app today and all this stuff. So. But that's the one thing this year. I'm trying to get over some of those fears this year so we can do more in terms of advertising and marketing. But, bear with me. If I do something cringeworthy, just say, hey, Eric, calm down. So you guys could tell me. You guys can be my gauge and say, hey, man, what do you guys think of this? In fact, I might run some ads past you once we actually do something. What do you guys think of this? And that would be cool. Mr. Nettune, I skipped your questions. Oh yeah, sorry. How many client projects do you tend? How many client projects do we tend to at once? How many? It's like I think I did answer. It's like it's not that many. It's less than 10. It's actually So I don't want to because. But yeah, I mean we could do a lot more, and we're trying to scale up a little bit. So it depends. So we're trying to do that stuff. So I don't want to go too much detail into that really, because it's but I hope you understand. It's one of these things. I haven't thought about how if it's appropriate to answer that one or not, or if there's going to be a knock-on effect on that one. Not that I'm trying to be non-transparent, because I would tell you, but I'm thinking about whether or not I want that. I mean, contact me privately and I'll tell you. But I don't know about if I want to say it in a public thing. Nikolai Ram says, how long does it take for the Play Store search algorithm to really recognize changes in the title or description? When can you expect to get installs for newly released apps? So I think 3 or 4 days is when I've seen the changes to it. So it's been the big one. So the biggest change I saw was when I went and localized it to all these different languages, and I saw it just shoot up, right? And it took like 3 or 4 days for me to really see that happen. And I didn't see it in terms of the search algorithm changes because I wasn't looking in those languages, but the downloads tripled in just a few days' time, and that was like such an eye opener. So C89HD says hi, hey, how's it going? Harold Koffler says, hey everyone, hey, how's it going? C89HD says, I have a question, guys. How can I secure my SQL database, my SQL database of my app? Do you mean on a server? That should be secured. That should be locked down. You gotta lock that down. Or do you mean the SQLite database on the app? Let's see. Tim, how's it going? Hi all. Harold Colfer says, Eric, if an app user requested some very special feature on one of your apps, did you send him a quote for this further development, or how do you organize this kind of request? So if somebody asks for a feature on one of my apps, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't charge them for that. I mean, because it's my app. But if it's a good feature, then maybe we'll consider it. But you know, if it's just one person, does it? Now, if it's somebody for one of their applications, then yeah, we would assess how much time it would take. You know, how long would it take? So if it's something like they're bringing existing code over to us, that's tricky because you have to look at the code and think, get an idea for how clean it is. You know, whether or not you can see the flow of how things work, if it's documented well. And when I say documented well, I mean just code comments, and it's just clean code. Like, I've never had anybody come to me with actual developer documentation, despite the fact that every developer who gets handed a project says, can I have the documentation on this? It never exists. I mean, I've never seen it. In my 20 years, I've never seen anybody. Well, maybe a couple times. I've written documentation. I don't know if it ever gets handed off when new people come onto the project, because when I've taken over projects, nobody's ever given me documentation. But yeah, so that would be one thing. We think about the time, how long is it going to take, and then we'll quote based on that. Let's see. I know I'm far behind on this stuff, so sorry about that. Let's see. Fist007, no, you should buy on displayed on your app page before playing it. Carol VDW, hey, how's it going, Carol? Hey Eric, my chess app is doing well, cool, but it doesn't serve a lot of ads. I can't serve ads during a chess game, of course. Only when navigating the menus, and half of my users turn off their internet. Okay. All right, so if you, let's see, yeah, because you don't want to pop up in the middle of the game. You'll get it removed based on that. I've had that where I had the, I talked about this before, where I had the ads pop up in the middle of using it. And it wasn't because I was doing it intentionally. It was because they were loading. It took, on a slow connection, if it took a long time to load, I've already made that transition, and I had to do the asynchronous preloading of the ad so that it's there to display when it does. And I think this might be one of the reasons why impressions fill rates go down, is because you're load. For me, it was when I started preloading them but never displaying them. I assume that might, the requests are coming through, but the impressions don't. Never thought about that before. But yeah, I mean, I would look at ways of, I mean, is there any way that you could show any kind of ads of your own that if the internet's off? Because that will at least give them the incentive to pay the in-app purchase to turn off it, and even just you promote your other applications with that kind of stuff. So that's the only thing I could really think of. And it's kind of strange for someone to turn off the internet on their phone, though, isn't it? Let's see. Christopher Nobo says, if you're up for reviewing a Google Play listing, yeah, let's do it. Would it be awesome if you could peek into Shotlog first app? Cool. Awesome. Let's do that. We haven't done that yet. Oh, but we were still on the same. We've been on the same camera. It's already been an hour. It's because I'm rambling on. You guys need to stop me from rambling. We need like a code. You guys can say, Eric, umbrella or something. You're rambling. Let's see. So let me show my screen. So let's go to play.google.com. Take it Christopher's, Krister. Sorry that I keep getting your name wrong. The Krister's app here, which is called Shotlog. Oh, cool. And it's your name there. Cool. All right, Shotlog, professional target shooting tracker. Cool. I like the way the I've noticed this a lot lately in screenshots, how they're sequential. Like that was something I never thought about when I released my apps, that the sequential, like having something span more than one. So let's see. So first app, you have 10 plus installs, Shotlog, a professional shooting tracker, cool. Stats, keep track of visits to the range, stopwatch timer, cool. Locate your weaknesses, improve, track your progress over time, export your data to your favorite tool. Which tools do you support? Oh, CSV. Track your sessions, optimize keyboard, cool. Live score calculations, cool. So I mean, is there any way? I think let's look for. I think the icon. So could the icon be any better? I'm trying. It's okay. So Christopher Krister, this is one thing I've said before in a video. Just because I say I think this would be nicer or I think this looks nicer doesn't mean it works. This kind of thing you do with Google experiments. So like there's an advertising book I read once where they talk about advertisers like to talk about I like this or I don't like this, but that doesn't matter. It's more what works. So like if you have an ad, even if it's an annoying ad, that doesn't matter. It's more whether or not it works. It's not what you like, it's what works. So that would be something to test. So let's do shooting tracker. So so we got football, shooting, shotgun, pistol. No, we don't have gun tracker pro. Oh, you have a competitor. You have like one competitor. What are they doing? Just go check them out. Let me just check out these guys. Oh, that looks awful. Yeah, I think yours looks a lot better, Krister. Although if the developer of this one's watching, sorry, but I think yours looks better, Krister. Let's go back over here, and so we got shot log. So what are some other things that people could be searching on? So we've got what we don't have here in the title is shooting range. Shooting range. Well, that's all games really. No wait, Range Master, Sniper Academy. That's a game. So what kind of? I'm not. I mean, I was in the Army and I had like we would go to the range, but I can't think of any terminology. I keep thinking pistol. So I'm trying to think what kind of pistol range. So I mean, yeah, this is kind of one of the things we go through and we test out different what different things do. So let's go to App Annie on this guy. AppAnnie.com, and just have a look at the ASO stats right now. What you're ranking for? Because it sounds like you're ranking. It looks like you're ranking pretty well. But let's have a look. All right, let's go to search for shot log. I don't know, are you guys still with me? Is everybody? Oh, 43. There's 43. Have we ever had 43 people watching? Sorry, I get nervous now. Oh, so I don't. Okay, let's see. Google Play. Shot log. Here we go. And my shoot log. So I see there are competitors there. So let's see, Chris, you're ranking first for Krister, shot tracker, target shooting, target practice. So these would be good. So these might be some good ones to include in there. Target practice, going to the range, pistol, rifle, and if you were to take out ads, I imagine there would be a certain demographic that you'd have in mind, right? So and being able to look at, so like if you're going to do a Facebook ad, you could say, every time I talk about something I don't know a lot about, I have to apologize if I seem naive. But like if it was something like I was going to do a Facebook ad, you could do something for people who like Guns and Ammo magazine website, or people who like certain things, and then be able to target them specifically. But I'm thinking about the specifically the title. So if it's and it would be kind of like looking at what people are searching. If not a lot of people are looking for shot log or target shooting tracker, then you might want to play around with those keywords a little bit and just experiment a little bit. So you can use Google Play Experiment. So let's have a quick look at that, because I know we haven't looked at that in a while. Let's go to all applications. Let's find an app at random. But please excuse the mess here, because I know I've got certain things that I need to fix and certain things that have been removed. I talked about it earlier this week in one of the videos. I've had a bunch of apps removed because I mentioned iPhone in them. I've had some suspensions that have been there for ages. But let's go to Chinese Mandarin Alpha Team. Actually, let's go There's one where I've run an experiment, where I've run quite a few experiments, which is oh, I think that one's been removed too. Oh, man. Okay, let's see. Chinese Mandarin Alpha Team. Sorry, guys. Let me just talk amongst yourselves. All right. Well, let's go into any application here. So we go to Chinese Heroes. We go through. If you go over here to the left here, you've got your is it under store presence? Yeah, store listing experiments. So here you can actually go through. Oh, hang on. It's an older application. I need to go through and do this thing. What am I missing? Oh yeah, no, it has no ads. Oh. All right, let me go to one of them that's actually working that I don't have any issues with. I think every time there's like a currency update in Brazil or something like that, you have to go through and update your pricing and distribution. But if I go to one of the free apps, we won't have that issue. This is one of the paid ones. So let's go to Learn French Bubble Bath Game. By the way, this is like the name of the app is French Bubble Bath, but I added the learn in the game and constantly doing that. And this doesn't, I mean, doesn't do hugely great, so it's not my top performer. But if we go to store presence and then we go to store listing experiments, this is where you could go through and do your graphics changes. So like you want to play around with some different images, I want to play around with a different icon. It doesn't mean the icon of the app itself, it means the one on the Google Play there. So you can see when it shows up in the search whether or not you try like say 3 or 4 different icons and see if one gets downloaded more than the other. You can go through and change your text too. Now be careful on the text, because actually you're okay because you're just getting started, but I once did this on EarSpy and I added some localized text and I tried different things and I found that my downloads went down because I stopped ranking as high, and I think it was because that whatever 25% that was for this other new description that I put through was like just messing up with that. So that's something to look at, and you know, this is the way you experiment with things. I've run some of these in the past before where I tried different icons and stuff like that, and some of them are so that's the ideal way to do it. So testing to see what works and what doesn't. So let's go back over to here. So that was anyway. I think it looks good, Krister. You might want to play around. So we talked about this before. Your screenshots. Again, this is an experiment, but your screenshots are very blue and they're all very very uniform, which is good. But you might want to have some pictures of a range, because if I'm somebody who goes to the range and I see that might see the visual thing. So find some stock images of shooting ranges or people at a range, or you know, you got the phone in the front and the range in the background, so you can see like you're out on the field, or maybe even the hand holding it. So something like that, rather than just the blue, because if I go into that and I'm really into that, then I might see that this is for me, because it's just, and you can just buy a stock image for, well, you probably can find a free one on Unsplash or one of the other the newer free ones, or you go to Photo Dune or one of the other stock images and just buy a few images for a few dollars. So let's see. Mega Man 2016 says, I know it depends, but what stack would you advise a full stack web developer to learn in 2019? Front end, back end, database. Okay, so I personally, I mean, even though I like the idea of Flutter and I like the idea of Dart, I still like the idea of the full JavaScript stack. So I like the idea of because that's the only one, if you're doing web, it's the only one where you can do the client, the server, and the database. So I would go for Node.js. I really like Node.js. I still do. I think it's cleaner. There's a lot of people out there who like PHP. I know and there's all the frameworks like Laravel and CodeIgniter and everything. There's a lot of people who like Python and C# and whatever, but I like Node.js. I like the idea that I have one set of code on the client and on the server, and then I could also run processes locally. I could do whatever, and it's portable. In terms of databases, I'm still, you know, NoSQL has been around for ages, and it really depends on what you're going to go to. So you should have knowledge at least one NoSQL and one SQL database. For SQL, I still go with MySQL just because it's been around for ages. Everybody knows it. The documentation is always there, and it's used everywhere, and it's inexpensive to run. Although I'm being a .NET developer in the past, I'm a big SQL Server fan. I like stored procedures. I like using that kind of stuff, but I've just gotten so used to using MySQL and it's just everywhere. If you ever need to hire somebody else, it's not going to be difficult to find a MySQL developer. And then in terms of NoSQL, I think MongoDB, because it's just the biggest one. But if you're using something like Firebase, and it's funny because if you know Node.js and you do Google Cloud Functions, that's JavaScript too. If you do, you could do. Well, it's not specifically Node, it's not specifically Express. You can still use those frameworks on Firebase and Cloud Functions, and also you can use them if you did anything in Google Script, meaning Google Sheets, Google Docs, all that kind of stuff. So you can have a Google Scripts, and that uses JavaScript. It's like JavaScript is just used everywhere. So that would be mine. But some of you guys might disagree with me here. So how far behind am I on these questions? Sorry about this, guys. Let's see. Oh, I'm near the end. Am I? No. Nikolai Ram says, what do you think the Play Store listing for TukTak intelligent alarm, the idea? Is the alarm clock app too crowded? Let's have a look at it. So we're going to share my screen again here. TukTak intelligent alarm, Nikolai. Here we go. Okay, the icon. I think the icon looks. So this is just my opinion, Nikolai. Take it for what it's worth. It's worth nothing, right? I like the icon, but it looks very much like you made it yourself. I think if you add some more texture to it, there's a little bit more depth to it, because it looks like. But that's it. Do I think it's too crowded? I like the background here. Intelligent alarm clock with social intelligence, speech recognition. Cool. I don't think it's too crowded. I think with an alarm clock, Nikolai, it shouldn't be too crowded, is it? Should it? Because you're all drowsy and stuff when it goes off. But I like the idea of using speech recognition. That sounds like the kind of thing you should have. I know it might ruin the title, but if you had something like that in the description, in the title itself, intelligent alarm, the voice controlled alarm clock, then that might be something that people would be searching on. And it sounds like, or at least if you found it, if you did a search and that came up in search, that'd be the kind of thing you think, oh, right. If it's unique, I don't know how many voice controlled alarm clocks there are out there, but I don't think it. Let's have a look at these screenshots. You notice I never look at the description. I very rarely look at the description because I don't think most users do, but it's good that you have it. And mainly for the keywords searching. You know what you should have? You have a video. You don't have a video. In fact, Shot Log didn't have a video either. And the nice thing about Google Play, it's so much easier than iPhone or iOS, where you can just do a YouTube video and upload it there. But and you could use stock footage for that too, or even use something like Lumen 5. We did a video last year on Lumen 5, and just being able to use and it's just text and images with music set to it, but at least you can see what it is and go through it. So some people just prefer to watch the video. So yeah, what do you guys think? So you want to give Nikolai some different feedback here? How's it doing? So Nikolai, when did you release this? Let's see. I'm asking you questions, but I'm just gonna have a look here. So 100 plus installs. You released it on 11th of January, which is literally, is that today? Is that 1.0 version today? I think it looks good. I guess we won't know enough about how well it's doing. 100 plus installs after one day sounds like it's Sounds good. Free full version to the first 500 users. How are you doing that? Because you shouldn't be able to add a price after you make it free unless you completely remove it. This is something. I mean, you could do a promo code or something, but because I know, well, unless they've changed it recently, you are not permitted to actually have a free application and start charging for it. Because what people were doing in the early days of the App Store and on Google Play was they would make it free and then get all these downloads to it, and then they start charging. So that's why you can't switch it after it's already gone to sale. So like if I go over to this guy here and I go to store listing, no, I go to pricing and distribution. There should be the app was published as free and cannot be changed to paid. So I'm wondering how you're going to handle that, unless they've changed it for newer apps. But that's what it says for me. So, but I think it looks all right. What do you guys think about Nikolai's alarm? I think the icon. I think you should play around with some different icons. Right, make more use of the space there. But again, see what works, because it looks like you're using geometric shapes here, and also it's kind of the share icon there. Yeah, guys, we'll wait for the feedback of the group here. Let's see. CH Development says, I'm a beginner on Android. Now I can create simple apps like wallpaper apps, but I don't have any idea about securing apps. So yeah, I mean, this could be a bit securing app. So use the one of the things when we did EarSpy in the beginning, I did not do any ProGuard or anything like that. I thought, yeah, right, and then I found out after that somebody had taken the app and decompiled it and released it on a Chinese app store, and it was like they didn't remove any of the analytics. That's how I found out it existed. But it was like same, everything was, the icon was different, but all the code was the same, and I was still getting analytics. So I got this big spike in Chinese users because whoever stole my app was doing a pretty damn good job marketing it. So basically what I did was I contacted that Chinese app store, and they did transfer it over to me. So which was fine, it was good. You had somebody to appeal to. But then after that we started using ProGuard, and in terms of security, I'm not an expert there. So, you know, if somebody told me that there was a duplicate, like if the copycats that we see of EarAgent, I do look to see if they look similar to mine. Like sometimes I've had people in the past use my screenshots, even though the app doesn't look anything like it. So, you know, you have to download your competitor's app or your copycat's app and look at it, and just to see whether or not. But it's only been that one occasion that I've had trouble with. Tryon Darcy Games says, "Hi Eric, my name is Tryon and I make games." Thanks very much for that comment the other day. I thought that was cool. Everybody should say that. My name's so and so and I make apps. I make games. So that way that'll be our greeting, right? We'll be like, yeah, man. Let's see. Mikhail says, Mikhail says, my World Network app. Sorry, do you mean you want us to have a look at My World Network? Okay. Mikhail, is that what you want us to have a look at that? Let me just do a quick. And I'm assuming, if you don't say otherwise, it's Google Play. Yeah, I don't see it. Mikhail, just let me know specifically what you're looking for. Tryon says, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Tryon says, I have a question. After I change keywords in the app title, do the changes apply immediately, or the algorithm takes 1 day? Is it okay to change keywords every day? I wouldn't change them every day, but I mean, for me, I noticed it takes at least a couple days. Because I remember every time this is one of the things, you make a change and you have to wait a few days, keep checking, hoping it's gone through, and you try again. And there's been other times where you don't do anything and the keyword just completely takes off. So yeah, I would do that and check in a few days and then try again. But I don't see the benefit of changing them every day, because at some point people are going to start finding it, and they're going to start searching for that. And even if they're not finding it immediately, they're going to start finding it. So if you're only interested in the ranking and not the downloads, then yeah, then maybe. Does that make sense? yeah, so yeah, and like as CH Development says, best to give it a week and check the change progress before you change again. And yeah, and use App Annie. Use a free version of App Annie and check to see how those keywords are doing, and so you can see over time how those are doing. And you could get Sensor Tower or Mobile Action or the tool, but I'm always happy with App Annie. Let's see. Okay, Mikhail is. Okay, I'm clicking on this link here. Oh, no. Stop. Okay. Yeah, okay, I've lost you guys. Just a second. Unfortunately, Mikhail sent me a link and I clicked on it. Okay. Is everyone still there? All right. Okay, and Mikhail, I'm afraid I can't click on that YouTube link while we're doing this, but if you, let's see. Trayon says, I make a few downloads a day. I hope I didn't lose you guys there just now. I make a few downloads a day, and I'm trying to find the right keywords. Yeah, and that's just it. It's the dance. It's going through and trying different things and seeing what works, right? And it's I wouldn't say doing it every day because I don't think that would give you enough time, but I would say, yeah, at least 3 or 4 days before you check it out, and don't go by the number of downloads because people might just not be finding it yet. Go by the search. Use the use App Annie, because App Annie you could check through the Play Store just by counting down, doing a search for the key term and then counting what number you are. But if you use App Annie, you can see the chart. And you can also see other locations too, like other countries. So that would be something to do. So let's see. Miguel says, Wabe Elba Ginon. If you guys, let me know if this is an app because I'm not sure what that means. I'm sorry if I'm not. Let's see. Wabe. I'm gonna do a quick search on that if it turns up with anything. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, Miguel. But if you let me know, so which we should look at. Ashay Poptani says, can you explain to me how hashing the passwords work? There's different ways of doing that. So most of the time when you hash a password, it depends on how you do it. A lot of times you use one-way encryption. So you're just hashing it, and then you're storing it in a database. And then rather than decrypting it and checking the unencrypted passwords, a lot of the times what you're doing is just you're typing in a password. So like if you enter your password as turkey, like your password is Thanksgiving turkey, right? And you store it in a database, which I have, and it's been hashed. I can't decrypt that. So if you call me back up and say I can't remember my password, I have to reset it because I can't remember what it is. But if you log in next time and you type in Thanksgiving turkey, I will put that through the same hashtag algorithm, the one-way encryption, where I can't encrypt it back the other way, and then I'll compare the two encrypted values and find out how it works that way. So it's like it's not like a lot of people think which you unencrypting, although there are unencryption algorithms out there too, but like a really good system would only do the one-way encryption. That's my understanding of it, but I'm when it comes to security, I have a basic knowledge. So so hopefully that helps, Abhay. And hey, welcome to the live stream. Google Play My World Network, Eric. Cool, got it. Thank you very much, Mikhail. So let's have a quick look at this. My World Network, because when I look at Mikhail, I can't see it. Can you tell me what the developer name is on it? Let's have a screen share. So I see My World. If I do My World Network, it comes up with a lot, but I'm not sure which one it is. So let's have a look here. My World Network. Yeah, I don't see it here, Mikhail. Let's see which one is it. Can you? Unfortunately, so the link you sent me was a YouTube link, and I'm not entirely sure how. Is it on? So it's on Google Play. Even if I do it within quotes, I can't find it. So is it something that's available in the UK? You don't have it restricted to one location, or is it so new that it's not even indexed yet? This would be my question. Give me the package name. We could probably look for it that way. My World Social Future. Okay, hang on. Let's see. My World Social Future. So, all right, My World. Is it this one? Is this the one that keeps coming up first? Is it this one? My World Secure Social Network. All right, I'm gonna assume it's not that one. But if it is, let me know. Let's see what else. So I'm going back to the chat here. This one, one of these days. So I need to find somebody who could come in on like a Friday night, and we could. So I have a moderator. I know this is embarrassing when I'm sitting here trying to. Where did I left off? And going through the chat here, and you guys are all just waiting for me politely. Let's see. How did I not see this? I think I missed a few different chats here. Please make a course or video on getting client work 101. Mega Man says, that would be awesome. I would love to do that because it's something we're always learning more about. And it's the most fun. Getting clients is one of my favorite things to do lately. It's just like, it's nice to reach out and bring new clients in. I like, it's like, because that's a bit you get to shine and really show off. So yeah, Mega Man, yeah, definitely. I think that would be a fun course to do. Cool Clothes Shop. Hey, hi there. One question: why are you having less views? And you're doing such a great job? I don't know. You know what? Cool Clothes Shop. I really appreciate it, but I think we're doing all right. I mean, it's like look, I'm just an app developer, so the people who do the views that we do get, I'm just like. I'm really impressed with it. But I do look at other people out there on YouTube and think, man, how'd they get so many? But I appreciate that, Cool Clothes Shop. Thank you very much. Let's see. DS Bailey says, it was around 96, 97 that I started learning Java, released in 95. Those were the days when you had to buy 6 books for each subject just to get an understanding of the subject. Yeah, I remember that. It was like a book was the best way to do it. And it wasn't just a book. It was a book, and then because there wasn't a website, you just sit there and typing and like look over the book, and then you make sure you didn't have any typos. Let's see. Welcome Hell says, how can I estimate how to charge for an app for a client? Welcome Hell, I've talked about this before, or this is one of the most difficult things to do because you're thinking about. There's lots of things to consider. First of all, mostly time. How long is it going to take you, and then also anticipate how much time. So when I was working as a developer and they would say, how long will it take you to do this? I would give an estimate, and I would pad it out a little bit just in case something goes wrong, in case the computer's working slow for some reason that day or whatever. But then when you're doing it for a client, you also have to think about how much of your time is the client going to take? Are they going to be calling you every day? Are they going to be asking you lots of questions? When you give a quote, if after you have your first conversation, do they call you back the next day saying, I just got another idea I want to add to this? And it's like, and you kind of get a feel for that and try to get and it's difficult to do, but what you don't want to do is end up losing money. You don't want to end up at a point where your quote is so low that in the end you're paying more in terms of your time than they're paying for the application itself. So that's the way I would go, and also try to anticipate some scope creep. There's always going to be scope creep. And try to define it as well as you can in the beginning. I mean, what we do is I wish I could show you, but everything, all of our quotes are, private, I guess. So, I mean, they're private, I guess. They're private for a good reason because they're for our clients. But so what I'll do is I'll do some wireframes in Balsamiq. And I did a video on Balsamiq once, and Balsamiq's like a really old tool. So I'll do a few wireframes, I'll do a few flowcharts, I'll give it to our designer. They'll do a mock-up, and we'll kind of read that as a proposal to them. But then try to put as much in there as possible, and also put what's not involved. So this is not going to include a website. This is not going to include support. This is only, or I will give you a warranty for 30 days or 60 days or whatever. Make sure you include that, because you don't want them coming back in 6 months saying, hey, it stopped working all of a sudden because there's been a new Android version released, or there's been some new Android phone that you can't anticipate. So make sure you put all that stuff in there too. Make sure you're really clear about that. Welcome Hell. And welcome hell. And don't tell them your name's Welcome Hell, because that might put them off. Let's see. CH Development says, can I add a check to confirm if the internet is on. So pause the game or something. Oh, if the ads don't show. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you could. I don't think that's really it's not a very good user experience. Nikolai Ram says, should I expect to get Play Store organic downloads from the beginning? It used to be you could, but no, it depends. If people are searching for it, like at the moment, because it used to be there would be a what's new section. At least, especially on the iOS side, there would be a what's new section, and you would show up there. So they'll play around with it, like recommend it to people so they could get a feel for it. But now it's just, it goes in there. You have to think about how can you get people to it. So I wouldn't expect that at all, Nikolai. And I think if you talk to a lot of developers here, they'll see they haven't had that experience either, and I haven't had that experience. Rahul Singh says, Eric, when I write a code, I try to make it concise, but most of the time it takes many classes and functions, any software or way you can keep track of code structure through diagrams, etc. in your experience. There's it's difficult. So this is one of the difficult things about software, right? As you get better as a software developer, you start making your code more complex because it's more efficient that way, right? This is like even stuff like design patterns. I remember learning design patterns and think this is the way we're going to work, and giving it to a developer who wasn't as experienced, and they're like, why do we have to do it this way? Why can't we just do it the normal way? Why can't we just make it clear? So sometimes, and I know this is like a real hardcore developers out there, the alpha coders would say that I'm being naive here, and I probably am, is that sometimes I will make the code a little bit simpler just so that it's understood by another developer, so I'm like not the only one who can work on it. But there's, in terms of documentation, there are ways to do it. One of the nice things about some of the code editors like WebStorm is they do have a hierarchical view of the classes that you could do if you do it that way. I know Java, and again, I know they have Java docs where you can just take it and then generate the documentation with that by just examines the class. But I think it's just, if you were able to just, even if you just have a README in it, I mean, a README in a file goes a long way. If you put it into Git, don't put it into README because then it shows up on the Git page, but or GitHub page. But if you do it, even on Git, so the README would show up. But if you add just some notes to the developer where you like keep track of what everything is, I think that's probably the most ideal. Like, that's the easiest. For me, that's the easiest. I love it when a I just love it when a developer puts something in there just to make it easier for me to understand. But it doesn't happen very often. Let's see. C89HD says, I don't know what the best for Android is, Firebase or MySQL database. It depends on what you want to do. Firebase is a NoSQL database, so it's like a NoSQL database is really good when the structure is going to change. And if you use something like, say, Mongoose or whatever, you could clarify the structure. But I like just being able to go onto MySQL and run a SQL query. Like, there's something about having to write all the loops and the syntax for like MongoDB or Firebase that I don't like. Just doing a light query is really difficult to do in a NoSQL database. But on the flip side, let's say, like, one time I was working on a CRM system. It wasn't like a major one. It was like this company had made their own CRM system, and all of their clients had different data they wanted to capture. So there was different ways of doing that. One of them was to have like a bunch of extra fields on a table so that if they wanted to add something to it, they could. But it was kind of like up to the code to remember. It was up to the code to say this field, like user 1, user 2, user 1 is this, user 2 is this, and that had to be in the documentation somewhere. And a lot of times it wasn't. It was just the developer saying, I need some place to put this data, I'll put it in user 15 or whatever. Another way was to, what the company I was working with were doing, which was really just ridiculous. They were actually creating a new version of the database for every single one of their clients, and a different code base. So when they had to roll out a change, they had to roll it out. They had to like make that change in all these different places, and they didn't have a version control system. It was just messy. So I was kind of brought in as a consultant to look at it, right? But that was really hard to have that flexible structure. So I came up with the idea of having the entity type system where I would have a table with how's it work? It goes, you have like a flexible structure where you have basically a key pair, so the title and so the key and the value, and then like another table which would define what those were, so you'd have a lookup value in that, and so that made it flexible, so you could add more, you could add as many columns as you wanted to an entity. But man, it was slow. Once we built it all, I'm like, no, this could be much more flexible and stuff like, rather than using those extra fields. Dude, it was slow. It was not a really good experience on my part. So in that kind of situation, and I hope you guys are following me here, because I know this is really geeky. In that kind of situation where you have different clients who need to add different custom data to their data sets, a NoSQL database is far better than a SQL database. But when you have tabular data and you need to run lots of reports on it, I find the MySQL database works better. That's just my opinion. Christopher Norbo says, my app got released yesterday, so I wouldn't bet there was any data on App Annie or anything. I'm sorry, I think I must have skipped forward way too far. Let's see. Am I missing anything? Okay. Sasha Goldman, what's up, gangster? Sasha, that is the coolest thing that ever said to me. I don't think anybody's ever called me gangster before. I like it. From now on, everybody call me gangster. What's up, gangster? I'm doing good, Sasha. How are you doing? Radio Digital says, repeat again. How long do you learn Java? Oh yeah. What is your IDE to create or develop apps? Yeah, we talked about it before. It depends on the. I use Xcode still for the iOS apps. I use WebStorm for anything that's React Native or even Corona. I'm using WebStorm for, and any Cordova apps like Ionic, the ones that we still have to do. And I'll use I don't use Android Studio. I use IntelliJ for that, but it's only because I'm paying for it because I got through the WebStorm. CH Development says just search YouTube for sales text. Writing something in that line. Cool. How many apps do you develop until now? Harry Varma says. It's difficult to say. It's a few hundred. A lot of them have been removed from iOS. I talked about this before. I did one of the videos I did really early on. Where I talked about whether it's better to have one big app or lots of little apps. And I went down the route of just having lots of little apps. Just keep producing. Be very prolific with that. And in the end, it came back to bite me, where Apple stopped accepting the apps, and a lot of them were variations on it. So I'd produce a framework, and I would, reskin my own apps, but not so much that they were exactly the same, but they were like serve different purposes, serve different audiences. And in the end, that's one of the things the Apple 4.3 regulations do. And you also have the Google repetitive content laws, which is mainly to stop people who keep reskinning their own keep reskinning applications. And just keep re-releasing the same thing over and over again under different names, which I've only done once, which is Ear Spy and Ear Agent, which was just two different markets. I want to try from a marketing point of view, but those worked exactly the same. But my language learning apps were all different because they served different languages and they had little tweaks here and there. And but in the end, it came back to bite me. It was just like too many applications. So when I answer that and I say it was a few hundred, I don't say it with pride. I just say it like it is what it is. Like a lot of them have been removed from Apple. I occasionally I'll have I had some removed from Google Play, and I haven't even replaced them yet because it wasn't even because of the app. It was because the description had the word iPhone in it, and they removed it. So if I knew it before, then I could have just changed the description. But now I have to go back and upload the app again. Let's see. Sasha Gangster says, what do you look for when hiring a junior mobile developer? You know what? To be honest with you, I look for somebody who's excited about the technology. You wouldn't believe how many developers I've worked with that are just like, there's developers I've worked with when I was in the corporate life. And again, you could tell there were people who were just really passionate about the technology and they just loved doing what they do. And there were people who got into it because there was good money to be had in software, and they just didn't enjoy it, right? And there's certain projects where you think you wouldn't enjoy it. Like you're just, like a banking system is boring, but like when you get into the technology, you think, oh, check this out. And I think about like this one guy, Shola, who I used to work with, and he was really good. He would get so excited about it. He goes, oh, I created this new component that just watch this, it does this, and he's explaining it to me. He's so excited about it. I'm getting excited about it, and I started to see the joy of it. Like you start, even though it's a back-end system, probably nobody would notice, and it was just a fact of, oh, I'm using this over here, and it does this, and look at it does the it turns from this type of object into this type of object, and I'm using this interface, and I'm using dependency injection here, and it was just the elegance of the system and his excitement and his enthusiasm about it that I could have talked to him about it all day, and that's what I love to see in a developer, and it is very, 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 very rare. Right? You meet a developer and you interview somebody, you say, what can you tell me about this technology? And the answer very frequently is, oh, I wasn't allowed to work at that at my last place, or my boss wouldn't let me, or, and I'm just like, that's not what I asked you. I asked what you know about it, because it's always changing. If you were going to hire a doctor and they weren't excited about medicine, they were just like, I just learn as I go, and I only learned. It was a book I read by, it was actually a cassette, but it was a CD. It was an MP3 download by Brian Tracy, where he said if you were going to hire a doctor, you wouldn't want somebody who just learned on the job. You would want somebody who had all the books, who attended who knew what was happening in the industry. And that's really what I look for, even for a junior developer. A junior developer is somebody who's just hasn't had the opportunities yet. That's just it. The excitement, the enthusiasm. They're going to make mistakes. The code might not be great, but they're still, they're destined for great things. That's what I think, Sasha. And if those of you software developers out there who've worked with somebody who's just a real player in the industry, or a gangster, as we should say, Sasha. I mean, it's so nice to work with them. Let's see. Rodrigo's got to go. Okay, cool. Oh, it's getting late. Oh, it's really getting late. We're doing a late one. I think the longest live stream we've ever done is 2 hours. Should we try to go past that today? Let's see. CH Development says, okay, so you guys have a conversation among yourselves. Nikolai Rom says, why are the search results in Play Store not the same as the app on the desktop? Good question. I've never even seen that. Are you on the same location on both? Because if you're talking about what I'm showing on my screen, I'm in the UK, but I've never actually. This is so stupid. I've doing apps since 2012. I've never compared the desktop and the Google Play app. But no, it's got to be the same. No, I have looked, because I look at mine where mine's ranked. But could it be the region? It's got to be the region, right? Nikolai. So let's see. Nasty One says Promovare. Does that mean anything, or is that an app? Nasty One, if you could let me know. And Rahul, what's up, gangsta? That's a new thing. Round one. No more I'm Eric and I make apps. So it's be like, this is the daily overpass. What's up, gangsta? I'm amusing myself. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Sasha, for bringing that in. Let's see. Syed says, hi, Eric. Hey, Syed. Syed. Waru Kamu. Hey, how's it going? Yo, Eric, do you listen to music when coding? I do. Well, it depends. So I got people working in the office now. So if they're here, I don't want to put my headphones on anymore because there's questions and stuff. But yeah, I do. And a lot of times when you get in this, I think, again, I've done so many videos. I've done a video about this before. It's funny when you listen to music when you're coding, where like I'll start an album, and then when I get into the code, I realize the album had finished like an hour ago. But I'm just like, when you're in the flow, it's almost like you put the music on, it helps you get into that right state, to the state, and then it's gone. Now, what to listen to? I was talking about somebody about this earlier. There's certain albums that I just keep listening to over and over again. There's one. There's one which I listen to, which is I like Alanis Morissette. I don't know why. I love listening to Alanis Morissette when I'm coding. Like, it just, and it's not even the ones, not the Jagged Little Pill album. It's like the MTV Unplugged album from a few years later. And for some reason, I really like that one when I'm coding. There's a few others. What else? What have I been listening to recently? I like Counting Crows. Sometimes it was like, and we talked about this before, epic movie themes, and like I like to listen to movie soundtracks, except when it turns into something that's just obviously like the Star Wars one. That just feels kind of weird, listening to Star Wars, and or Superman, but every so often you get something like Inception or something where you can't remember what it was like in the movie, but it just sort of gets you into that thing. And I've tried, so I've used Last FM before. I've used Focus at Will. In fact, I think I have a subscription to Focus at Will. I completely forgot about it. But I have Google Play. I have Google Play Music, and I have Apple Music. And the only reason I have Apple Music is because it'll work on Siri in the car, because I'm an Apple user. I'm an iPhone user because I needed an iPhone for testing, but I hate Siri, and the iPhone is really good camera, really good hardware, but I don't like Siri. I prefer Google Music. That's my personal preference. You guys can let me know if you guys disagree. Christopher says, hey, Eric, is your ASO your primary marketing tactic, or is there another method you found useful? Mainly it's ASO because it's free, right? I've tried doing ads before, and we do a lot of social media. So if you look at our Instagram and stuff, we do a lot of stuff that goes out. Also, occasionally I'll go on Twitter and start looking for people who are looking for language apps that we have, but that's not that often. I used to do it a lot more. But yeah, no, mainly it's ASO, and then also every time, putting, like, if you one thing you could do is, if you have good reviews that come in, you could turn those good reviews into an Instagram quote or a Facebook quote and put them onto Instagram and Facebook, but make sure you link back to the Play Store. If your app is on both Play Store and on App Store, link to the Play Store, because the backlinks work better there, in my opinion. So that's, and you get more of those backlinks that go back, and so forth. So let's see. Gilbert, hey Gilbert, how's it going? Oh, let's see. Says, what's one way to get clients online? I am learning Flutter. Hey, I also have an idea. I want to create a bot that makes Flutter apps. It's like a Wix clone, but for apps in Flutter. That would be cool. That would be, because there was a lot of app builders on the Cordova applications using JavaScript. That would be kind of cool to have one that does it in Flutter. Let's see. Tryon says, my game is vehicle parking if you want to see it, but I think it doesn't appear on searches because of the low downloads. You can find it on my channel, latest video on the description. Oh, you have a channel? Let's sorry, Tryon. Let's have a quick look. I'm gonna try to do vehicle parking. Tryon Games. Sorry, I'm just seeing if I can find it before I share my screen here. Here we go. Screen share. Is it this one? Vehicle parking. Yeah, here we go. Wow, there's a lot of parking games. So you have a video, which is cool. Oh, this looks good. Valet multi-level obstacles Pareto. What does Pareto mean? Is that something? Is that like a normal thing that, as a grown-up, I should know the answer to that, or is that something different? Park different vehicles. Park in the city. Park in the village. Supercar parking. Free drive. Fun mode with ramps. Multiple camera angles. You're talking about the features, bus driver, which is cool. And the oh, sorry, what did I do? And the screenshots here, and it depends on how many. So again, forward. So if people are finding the Play Store page and they're not downloading, then we can look at the screenshots. But if they're not finding it, then we have to look at the icon and the title, so all the search algorithm. So it's the discovery part of it. So if they're not discovering it at all, then that's something. So this will be looking at the user acquisition report on Google Play. You would say, are people actually finding this? And if they are, then the keywords are working well. But if they're not downloading, then we look at some of these. Now, so one of the things, let's watch the video here real quick. One of the things that that we talk about a bit is like not talking about the features of the application, but the benefits. So could you have something that talks about how engaging or fun and engaging? Oh, this looks really cool. And is that done in Unity? Let's see. So, I mean, the icon looks a lot like the other ones. I I'm trying to think. I'm kind of. I think wait to see what kind of downloads you get and look at the keywords, and then we can start looking at the icons and then running like different experiments on the icons, and then see, because it all depends on whether or not you're getting people to the Play Store page through the user acquisition report. Is it showing up in search? If it's not showing up in search, then we have to look at the keywords. If it is showing up in search and they're not actually looking at the Play Store page, then we have to look at the icon, and if it's not getting downloaded but they're going to the Play Store page, then we have to look at the screenshot. So but I think it looks good. I'm just wondering if the screenshots could be a bit more like less like the actual screenshots and kind of what it like, because I'm not sure, like if I was looking at park different vehicles, if that's like going to be a selling point for me. If I'm looking for, I'm trying to think if I'm looking for something like the difficulties of parking, or I'm trying to think what I would search if I was looking for it, unless I knew what a parking simulator was. If that makes sense, Tryon. But that's just my opinion. It's my opinion. So, like I said, it's not what I think is what works. So I think experiment with stuff like that. Krister Norbo says App Store is updated with new descriptions. Thanks for the tip. Was really useful to see how to search using the App Annie and check the keywords. Thanks a lot, Gangsta. Thanks, Gangsta. Thank you, Sasha, for bringing up the Gangsta. Gangsta. Orion Core. Boy, you're here late today. Eric, you said months ago that you were going to make a video on Tool.io if you found the demo useful. Did not go well? All right, so Tool.io. Yeah, so, you know, I need to look at it again, because I think I mentioned this last time. They made me like a really good offer saying if I would, they would give me like, they gave me like a year's use of it and an affiliate link. So if I give you guys the affiliate link, then you would get like a percentage off, but it's probably, you know, it's like yeah, I've never actually done anything with affiliate links before, but and then I would get like a percentage of whatever you guys did, so I could be making money off you poor saps. But I thought what I would do is test it out first. So if it worked well for me, then yeah, that would be awesome, because then we'd make a bit of money from the channel, and you guys would be happy, I'd be happy, everybody would be happy. But I just didn't, you know, I started using it, I had them show me how to use it, and I didn't really see the benefit of it, and it was just really complicated to use, and it was, you know, I need to look at it again, because it could be I'm just missing something, and then I'll regret having said anything about it now. But yeah, this is, you know, I would lose not only will I lose followers, I would lose your guys' respect if I tried to tell you to download something just because it would make me some money, right? And that's one of the things, every time anybody tries to sell me anything online and there's an affiliate link, and we're trying to do affiliate. So this week we've been setting up affiliate links for Amazon, because everyone keeps saying, look, you keep talking about books, you keep talking about stuff, you need to have some Amazon affiliate links in here. It's like, yeah, I know. But whenever somebody tries to sell like a high ticket subscription item and they have an affiliate link, the doubt in my mind is this really, is the goal of the video to make passive income for the guy, or is it actually because they believe in the tool? So the Tool.io was one trying it out, and I haven't seen the benefit of it yet. So I'm still trying it out. But again, I looked at it for like a few hours, and I haven't been using it every day. But it's, you know, in the past, I've used Sensor Tower, I've used Mobile Action. It seems like the kind of thing where a lot of people say, oh, it's the greatest tool ever, man. But when I start using it, I just don't see the benefit of it. And then I ask people, can you show me some numbers of how this has worked? And where did you put the keywords? And how did that work? And nobody tells us that, no, that's just a keyword tool, right? So that's my whole thing about it. That's why I haven't done a tutorial on the Tool.io. But if I can find, and if I ever did, I wouldn't have an affiliate link. If I did a tutorial on the Tool.io, but I don't see the point of doing a tutorial on something that I can't get to benefit me. So I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to be like as honest about that as possible. Nikolai says, as far as I could tell, it's in the same region. Okay, so let's see. Ooh. Oh God. All right, let's see. Let's see. Mikhail, I'm not sure. If you tell me what the all right, so it has a. You opened it in your browser as a blue icon. So Mikhail, let's look at Mikhail's app one more time. Oh, I'm still showing the, oh, sorry about that. Sometimes I forget to switch back to the camera view here. So is it this one? The blue icon. Okay, cool. So this is Mikhail's app. My World, Friending Future, Social, Secure Social Network. You have the screenshots in here, but we don't. I mean, you don't have any text on the screenshots and say what it does. So I mean, that's what I think would be good. How's it doing? 162 reviews. That's good. Your downloads are, no, sorry, 26 million. 10,000 downloads. That's not bad. That's not bad, Mikhail. This is your application? That's your review. All right. So how many of us have at least one review that's by us on our own apps? I think I've done that. Like, especially in the beginning, there's like that one app by me. Oh, I think this app is great. So you never trust the apps that have one review. But no, is this your one here? I think it looks good. Let's see. Franco, let's go back to this. Franco says, my app doesn't require SMS permissions, but Play Store still warns me about having to update my app to comply with the latest SMS policy, removing SMS permissions. Really? Is it just is it just having a privacy policy in general, or because I think I went through and I just put a privacy policy for all my apps, because I was like, it's at one point. So I have like a generic privacy policy on the website, and I just put that on all of them. But is it because of the SMS? Is I specifically saying it's an SMS you have to specify there? We have a SMS on several client projects, but I don't think I have any SMS apps. Any SMS on my own applications. Let's see. Too Much Wasabi says, "What's up, G? What's up, G? It's gangsta now. It's gangsta. Or does that mean the same? God, does this sound stupid? I don't even know that. Yeah. What's up? What's up? Too Much Wasabi. How's it going? Oh, Ryan Core says, don't forget about Nina Cherry doing the buffalo stance when you need a break. So yeah, Nina Cherry. I don't listen to that when I'm coding because that's the only song I know by Nina Cherry. But I'll listen to that when I'm driving. When I'm driving, see, all right, I was talking about how I don't like Siri. And again, I know I'm rambling on, guys. Oh, God, this is the longest live stream we've ever done. Because now we reached this point. Let's wrap it up. So, when I used to have Google, I had my Android phone, which I loved. And on the Mustang, when I got that, and it all worked together, and I could just say, tell Google Music to play whatever. Right, and it would play the playlist based on the song. But if I ask Siri Music to play a song, it just plays that one song. So yeah, and so I'm sitting there trying to think, what should I listen to next? And it always comes up, Nina Cherry Buffalo Stance. Huh? Sucker? Let's see. How long would it be? CH Development says, start an online programming music stream. That would be cool. Somebody should do that. Let's see. And I'm gonna have to wrap this up because it's getting really late. Tryon, it's not showing up search. Yeah, maybe it's made with Unity. Cool. Let's see. Krister says that would be a gangster name. Yeah, try a lot of different keywords. RuneScape Player says, how do you think Google should solve the problem of oversaturation of apps in the App Store? I think this is one of the good things about the repetitive content policy, right? And it doesn't really and I think it should be per developer. Like if I make an app that's similar to one that already exists, I shouldn't have to be disqualified because it might be better. Like I don't want somebody saying your app is too similar to that guy's app. Although, unless it's based on branding. Like the copycats I have to report is because they're trying to pretend that they're the same as me, or they're affiliated with me somehow, or they're copying the look and the feel and everything like that. But if it's the same functionality, like I don't mind if somebody tries to do what one of my apps does better, but when they try to copy it, that's my whole thing with the copycats. But at the same time, I don't think as an app developer, if I see Uber and I think I can make a better version of Uber, I don't think I should be denied releasing something that's similar to Uber because the Uber already exists. But if I'm Uber and I want to release 3 different types of Uber, then yeah, maybe. So I think that would be one thing. And maybe they have to start getting like Apple is when they start rejecting certain app ideas out of the box, like flashlight. No more flashlight. No more fart games or whatever. But I don't know. So Victor Marek says, what's your main marketing strategy? My main one is mainly social media at the moment. So, and I'm not really that good at marketing. Are you talking about for apps or for the company itself? Victor. So my main one for the apps is SEO and just the keyword optimization. For the company itself, we're doing a lot in terms of social media and not so much outreach, although we were for a while doing email prospecting. But I stopped doing that when GDPR came in, just because I'm unsure of that. But I want to start doing more Facebook marketing and stuff like that in this year. It was just something that I'm really, really eager to get started. Krister says, implement manual review like Apple. It's annoying, yeah, but it improves your own listing. Yeah, that's it. I mean, the first time one of my apps was rejected by Apple, it was almost like a slap in the face. Like, who are they to say that this is good or not good, right? And the nice thing about Google is you just release it on Google and it's there, right? It's part of the market. It's out in the open. But there is oversaturation in the market, and you just can't deny that. It was at one point where I was in a mastermind group with a bunch of people who were reskinners, and they would release 10 apps a day. It was just, bam, 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 and they were talking about the factory of doing it. And I would do one every few weeks, which is almost just as bad. All the apps that I have is just as bad. And if we all had just a handful, that would be really good. I mean, and then we would have to decide. So like, one of the reasons why I don't remove some of my older apps is because they might take off, right? But if I had to say, they said you have to get rid of 50% of your apps, then that would have to make just like any company would have to decide which employees to let go, I would have to decide which apps to let go. I really think that one has some potential, but it's not making any money now. So, and I think that one is making money, but I don't like it as much, but I'm going to keep it, that kind of stuff. So maybe that would be the case. Maybe we had like a limit to the amount that you can do, although that would kind of suck. But let's see. Fermi says, okay, since you're reviewing apps, could you review mine? Barfield iOS. Okay, we'll do that. But I'm going to have to, so everyone stop asking questions. Oh my God. Let's see. Everyone stop asking questions. So everyone after Christoph. So I'm not going to, so just so we get through this. Bar Friends iOS. Cool. Because I don't like every time we do a live stream, I want to answer all the questions. I hate it when somebody says, you didn't answer my question. So, and not to say that I'm going to know the answer. Like, I'm just a app developer. Okay, let's see. Bar Friends iOS. Oh, Bar Friends on iOS. Duh. All right, yeah. Sorry about that. All right, let's have a look at this Fermi. Bar Friends. Okay, cool. I'm looking at it. I didn't bring my iPad with me to share my Wait, why is there two? Let's see. Bar Friends. Oh. Let's have a look at the. Okay, so let's open a new window. Why am I not doing that? All right, so let's look at the the iOS page. So Bar Friends, free. So, okay, going out. Is your target audience, would it happen to be men? Let's see. Cool. All right, so I mean, I kind of get, I get the marketing of all the young ladies and stuff, and young handsome men. But how does the icon, how does that fit in with it? And how's it doing, by the way? Because it's for me, is it? So it was released just last month. Let's look at ASO here. The keywords we have here are local clubs 55, local beer, dating club. Dating of 63 for dating club. That's gonna be good, right? Or just dating in general. Free bar, local bar. Would find women be something? I mean, I just based on the application says. Well, I kind of felt creepy for saying that. I don't know. For me, I'm just the icon. Is the icon working for you? I mean, I'm wondering what kind of stats you're getting because I don't have access to that. Yeah. I mean, what do the rest of you guys think? Okay, so let's see what else we have here. Welcome Hell says, Eric, do you know the click farms in China? They sell reviews. It's impressive. Yeah, I've never done that. I'm just afraid that I'll get caught. Like and I remember thinking early on, it's like, I mean, all right, no, it's not that I'm afraid I'm gonna get caught. I just think it's the wrong thing to do, and it is the wrong thing to do. It takes away the whole the honesty of the app market. However, if other apps are doing it and I'm at a disadvantage because other apps are doing fake reviews, then I would consider doing fake reviews if that's the thing. The thing is, what I'm hoping is that one day they'll get slammed down and all these apps that were at the top will get taken away because they resulted to that, and then the rest of us who did not will rise up. The whole thing about fake reviews is, I remember reading about like Facebook fake reviews, where like if you run a Facebook ad, you're going to get a lot of fake clicks even though you didn't pay for them, because in order for those fake accounts to look real, they have to randomly just start liking other things, right? So it would be like, if I assume that if you pay for fake reviews, they probably are just like placing fake reviews in other places too, just to throw Google off the scent. And if that's the case, then it would be really hard to find. But I'm hoping, I haven't done it. I have not done fake reviews, and it's just I've been tempted. I can't say that I haven't been tempted, but I haven't done it. I mean, so it's just, and it's difficult to say. Like, I remember people accusing me, like when EarSpy first started, people said there's a lot of good reviews on this crap app. Obviously it's a bot. And I was like, it wasn't a bot. But it's still up. So I assume, and I just assume Google's gonna know. I always assume Google's smarter than I think it is. You can't trick Google, and I'm not gonna try. Right? It's just so I haven't tried that though. Welcome Hell. So I never use it, but I saw a video. Yeah, I've never used it. I'm too afraid to use it. It's part of me that just thinks, at least I can hold my head high and say I've never paid for reviews. But then if other people are doing it and I end up not making any money because somebody takes over for the top spot from me, then that would really suck. Orion Core is going to bed. Good night, Orion Core. Gangsta. Tryon says, is there a Facebook group for Overpass fans? Krister says, yes, there is. It's called Entrepreneurial Devs at the Overpass, and we do post to it each day, but I need to get more involved in it. We need to push that a little bit more, because the people who are on it are really good. We try to answer the questions. I try to go through and do that, but we need to get. I need to get more active in it. We need to do it. We need to make this Facebook group better, because it's because we all help each other. The nice thing about the channel, and it's weird. I don't know if other channels are like this, but it's almost like it's probably more beneficial to read the comments than to listen to what I say, because all the other app developers there are just contributing so much information, and when we do the live stream, it's more the conversations with other people than it is me. But I think it's more the community thing, and I think if we had the Facebook group, we do have the Facebook group, but if we got it working a bit better, it would be nicer. Let's see. Fist007 says, how difficult is it to take on a project that was started by another developer? It's hard. I mean, it depends on how good the developer was and how open as a developer you are. So I've had work with developers who they won't look at other code. They're like, need to rewrite it. That's their default. And I've always been more, when it comes to those kind of situations, I talked about it before, the surgeon and the medic, right? I'm the medic. I'm just going to go in there and patch it up, right? If I'm taking over an existing project and they bring me something that's just completely, it's not working for whatever reason, I'm looking for the place where I could strategically put an if statement that just causes things to start working again, even though it's not an elegant solution, right? But you do what you do with what you're given, as opposed to something you do yourself, and you're like the surgeon. You're like, let's do this the right way. Let's do it proper way, proper foundation. But sometimes you do get code that's pretty good, but it is difficult. It's far more difficult. And we had when we meet with so we met recently with a prospect who's working with another developer, and they want to move the project over to us, but the project is so near done. I'm like, I think you should just finish it with them. Like, it's like I'm turning down the work, but it's like, I think, bring it over to us. Our developers have to learn it, how it all works. It'll be better in the long run, but you just need to get it live, right? Because before you get it live, you really know nothing, right? You need to get something on the App Store to find out if it's going to work. And and going from 90% of the way down to 60 because we have to learn everything is probably not worth doing. let's see. And bar friends. So we looked at bar friends. Let's see. Fermi says didn't want someone to steal my name. Let's see. And White Shark says AdMob decided to wish me a happy new year and terminated my account for invalid traffic. I just started this December. What could be the reason for the invalid traffic? Do you think anybody's trying to sabotage you by clicking on stuff? I mean, this is one of the things that scare. Well, there is, if you go to AdMob, I hate talking about this, so I think somebody's going to do it to me. But like, there's on AdMob website, and I did a video about this. There is a link for link sabotage, and I think you should contact AdMob and think, I think this is link sabotage. It wasn't me. Look at the stats. I'm sure they could see where the clicks are coming from, and they can have a look at it. Maybe it just looks suspicious, and they close it down without even, you know, it's what they don't want to do. So every time there's an invalid click, somebody's losing money. Somebody's paying for that ad and they're losing money, and Google doesn't want that to happen. So I'd imagine that they would have automated processes that just go shut everything down, even if it just looks suspicious, and you might just have to appeal that rather than have it keep going and then do a proper investigation while that money keeps flowing out. I mean, that would just be what I think. So, but I would appeal it. Just keep appealing it, and if your appeal fails, appeal it again, right? And say, yeah, and use the terms. I think it might be link clicking sabotage, because that's on their website, and they, you know, that might get them to, rather than say this is not fair, this is unjust, whatever, say I think it's link clicking sabotage. Can you check the stats and see if you can get somebody to listen to you, and just be as loud as you can, because I think that's what you're gonna have to do. Christopher says, yo, hey gangster, go grab your pizza. I'm so starving. Have a nice week and see you next week. Thanks, Christopher. Thanks for coming by. I'll see you, Chevelle. Have another great live stream. Thank you very much. Rifa, you made it just at the end. I'm just about to leave and get some pizza. Oh God, I'm so, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about pizza, I just all of a sudden Jacob, you showed up at the end too. How's it going? Let's see. Alexander says, what if your friends leave reviews on your app? Can you get in trouble with that? No, I don't think so. No, definitely get your friends to leave reviews. I mean, you're not going to have 1,000 friends, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's expected. Like, you know, if you can't get your own friends to leave a review for your app, you know, I don't think that's anything wrong with that. Thank you for your answer. Rifat says, I had the chance to read the book Crossing the Chasm. I've read the first couple chapters. I need to do it. I started reading another book. I know. I need to get back to it. Sorry about that, Rifat. I do have it. It's on my bedside table, and I didn't get the Kindle. I bought the physical book, and I keep leaving it at home. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't finished it yet. But I would definitely finish it. I think the first chapter was really, really good, and I keep thinking about that. How do you cross the chasm? And I think about that in terms of the client business. Is there, in terms of whether or not we can appeal to a broader audience rather than people who are just more technical. So, and everyone, Fist 007, have a good night. Dennis, did you lose a lot of AdMob revenue due to the changes that came on the GDPR, only being able to say? I did not, strangely enough. And that's the last question, Dennis, but I didn't. Just my revenue actually, but it had gone down since the previous year, and I thought it was going to do terribly, but no, it was. I have the GDPR consent form and everything, and the non-personalized and personalized, but nah, it's really strange. I would have thought that would have killed it, but it didn't. And White Shark says, thank you, Eric. Everybody, this is the longest live stream we've ever done. If you're watching this on a replay and have actually made it this far, congratulations. I'm surprised we're even still here. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for joining on the live stream. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate your guys' time here. And we'll do this again next week. We're gonna set some sort of time limit though, because you know, kids at home starving, and I need to get some pizza. And but thanks very much. I'll see you guys next week on the live stream, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on the daily video. Have a fantastic weekend.
Taking this blindfold off to see what this life's all about.